live stream here on YouTube at Sports Bonanza John and also on Sports Kick John. West Coast Conference battle tonight between the Beavers of Oregon State and the Redhawks of Seattle. Preview this game in just a moment. First of all, let's pray. Lord Jesus, thank you for this day. Thank you for looking upon us, Lord, and look over these players, fans. Please keep everyone safe tonight, Lord, and please continue to do your will among us, Lord, and look over us as we ask and pray this in your name. Amen. All right, Oregon State and Seattle in this West Coast Conference battle. Oregon State coming in on the season 14-13 overall. They are 7-7 in West Coast Conference play. Seattle been in a little bit of a funk here recently. They are 15-11 overall, just 4-9 in West Coast Conference play. Seattle had a great start to the season, faltered a little bit here in conference play with just the 4-9 record. These two teams met back on January the 8th, and Oregon State picked up a 68-55 win over Seattle in that game. Oregon State coming into this game winners of 4 of their last 5. Seattle, on the other hand, going the other way. They have lost 4 of their last 5 games. Looking to right the ship here as we are a couple of weeks away from the end of the regular season and the beginning of the West Coast Conference tournament. It'll be here before we know it as college basketball season winding down here, and we're down to the final 2-3 weeks of the regular season. 2 weeks for some conferences, 3 weeks for other conferences. So we are getting down to the nitty-gritty here. This Oregon State team coming in, to mention winners of 4 of their last 5. This is a team that averages 71 points per contest. Seattle coming in on the season averaging 73 a game, so very, very similar for both of these teams on the offensive side, as Oregon State looks for the season sweep over the Seattle Redhawks and looks to go over 500 in West Coast Conference play as they come in with the 507-7 conference record. Give you the starting lineups here momentarily. I'm trying to find this game actually on. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. Let's run down the starting lineups for tonight's game. First, we'll start with the Beavers of Oregon State, 14-13 on the year, as I mentioned, 7-7 in West Coast Conference play. They line up like this at 1 forward, number 13, Isaiah Sy, a 6'7 junior, or Say, I think is probably the correct pronunciation, 6'7 junior out of France. He's averaging right at the 10-point per game mark on the season. Another forward for Oregon State is number 24, Johan Munk, a 6'11 sophomore out of Copenhagen, Denmark. Munch on the season at 7.6 points per game. Another forward for Oregon State, number 37. This is the first Oregon State I've done this year. I'm not real familiar with this team, so I hope I get these pronunciations on these names right. Olavi Sutela, 6'10 freshman out of Finland. A lot of foreign players on this Oregon State team. Sutela coming in averaging just over 5 points a contest. In the backcourt for Oregon State, number 0, Des White. White, a 6'2 junior out of Jefferson City, Missouri. White, the second leading scorer on this team, tied with Sy for the second leading scorer on this team, averaging right at 10 points per contest. And the other guard for Oregon State is number 2, Josiah Lake II, a 6'2 junior out of Tualatin, Oregon. He is the leading scorer on this Oregon State team on the season, averaging 13.4 points per contest. This is the Beavers team head coached by Wayne Tinkle. Starting lineup are as follows for the Redhawks of Seattle. 15-14 on the season. 15-11, on the season. 4-9 in West Coast Conference play. Up front for Seattle, number 15, Will Heimbrodt. Heimbrodt, a 6'7" sophomore out of San Elsmo, California. Heimbrodt on the season averaging 11.5 points, 11.6 to be exact, per contest. The other forward, number 21, again, I hope I get these pronunciations right, Jun Sok Yao, I don't know if a 6'8" senior out of South Korea. On the season, he is the second leading scorer on this Seattle team, averaging 12.2 points per contest. In the middle for Seattle is number 34, Austin Maurer. Maurer, a 7-foot sophomore out of Medford, Oregon. Maurer on the season averaging 7.5 points per contest. At one guard for Seattle, number 0, Braden Maldonado. Maldonado, 6-foot senior out of Anchorage, Alaska. Maldonado, leading scorer on the Seattle team this year at 14.7 points per contest. And the other guard for Seattle is number 1, Malik Arrington. Malik Arrington, 6'3" senior out of Auburn, Washington. Arrington averaging 4.5 points per contest on the season for Seattle, as they are led by head coach Chris Victor at the helm for the Redhawks of Seattle. Memphis, who you taking, Oregon or Seattle? Well, okay, so here's the thing. Appreciate everybody jumping in on the live chat here early on tonight. I don't like to pick the games I'm doing, so I'm not going to really make a prediction in this game. But, Seattle, of course, the West Coast Conference, one of those conferences where if talking about tournament, if you finish higher, you get like if you finish in the top 2, you're going to get a bye right into the semifinals. If you finish 3 or 4, you're going to get the bye into the quarters. So for that, Oregon State is fighting for tournament positioning, trying to get at least a first-round bye. But Seattle trying to just get into the tournament at 4-9. So I don't like picking, but if you base it on those things, you have to think Oregon State, I want to say a little bit more to play for, but trying to get that positioning for at least a first-round bye in the conference tournament. Oregon State currently 5th in the conference standings, and Seattle currently sitting in 10th in the West Coast Conference. So we are just about set to go in this game. If there's anybody on this game on the way, it is a 6.5. Seattle does come in as a 6.5 point favorite tonight. From the Redhawks Center in Seattle, we are just about set to get underway. Beavers and Redhawks. Again, the starting 5 for Oregon: Sotella, Munk, Sy, White, and Lake II. Seattle has Heimbrodt, Yao, Maurer, Maldonado, and Arrington, and the tip controlled by the Redhawks, and we're underway on a Sunday evening. First possession of the game belongs to Seattle here. And a block shot underneath by the Beavers, and then a turnover after the offensive rebound. Beavers break the other way, and a block at the other end for the Redhawks. So a couple blocks to start this game, one on each side. Possession stays with the Beavers. 25 seconds into this game. Beavers will inbound from underneath the basket. Got a little bit of a stoppage here. A little bit of a delay here before we inbound the ball. Not sure what the issue is. When I do these live streams, for obvious reasons, I keep the sound down on the television, so I don't always hear exactly what's taking place. But it looks like we're set to go now, and Oregon State will inbound under the basket. Here comes a three-point shot on the way. That is long. Rebound pulled down by the Redhawks. Maldonado brings it up the floor for Seattle. Now Arrington on the outside, back to Maldonado. Maldonado behind the back pass, but unable to be handled, and it will be saved somehow by Seattle before it goes out of bounds. Yao on the drive. Yao has it rejected. Second block for the Beavers. Gets it back, though, and puts it in for the first 2 points of the night. Young Seok Yao. I hope I'm getting these pronunciations right. 2-0 lead for Seattle. Beavers back the other way with Josiah Lake. Bounce pass inside. And a nice feed there and a dunk for Sutella off the great feed from Johan Munk, and we're tied at 2. Redhawks with it now the other way. On the outside is Heimbrodt. Heimbrodt drives. Heimbrodt puts up the off-balance shot. That's off the mark. Gets his own rebound. Puts it back. No. A third tip. No good. And finally, the rebound pulled down by Oregon State. Nearly 2 minutes in. Here's Des White with it for the Beavers. White gives it off now to Isaiah Sy. Back over it comes to White. White goes inside. Nice bounce pass, and the right-hand 2-footer is no good. Well, that was right under the basket, but missed. And back comes Seattle the other way. Both teams held to 1 field goal in the first 2.5 minutes. Driving, nice spin move inside and off the glass and in for Will Heimbrodt for his first 2 points. And the Redhawks have a 4-2 lead. Beavers up the floor with it. This is Des White on the outside. White gets it over to Sy. Sy now in the corner to Josiah Lake. Lake will now drive inside and put it up and in as Lake gets the driving layup. And the game is tied at 4, 3 minutes in. Arrington on the outside for the Redhawks. Looking to drive. Will now pass it over to the right side. And an off-balance jumper. That is not a good shot. But that's an offensive rebound for Yao and a fresh 20 on the clock for Seattle. Arrington gives it off now to the midcourt circle of Maldonado, and the Redhawks will set the offense. Maldonado gives it off, and now a three-point shot on the way is around and out from Austin Maurer. Another offensive rebound for the Redhawks, and the turn, that's no good on the shot from Maurer. 3 empty shots that time for Seattle, and back come the Beavers. No, Menfisto. No, I actually didn't give an answer on the I appreciate Menfisto jumping in the live chat. No, I actually didn't give an answer because I don't like picking the games I'm doing. So it should be a pretty even matchup here as Oregon State turns it over. So I didn't really know. So you didn't miss my egg. I didn't really give an answer because I don't really like. All I'm saying, this should be a pretty competitive game between these two teams. And the drive off the glass, no good, but we are going to have a foul on Oregon State, and that will bring us to our first media timeout at the 15:53 mark of the first half. A little bit of a sluggish offensive start for both sides as we are 4-4 here in the early going on a Sunday night, late afternoon out in the Pacific Northwest in this West Coast Conference battle between the Beavers and the Redhawks. Oregon State jumping out just a 2 of 5 from the floor. Seattle a 2 for 9 start. So slow offensive starts for both sides. And actually, I need to correct something I said at the beginning, where I said the West Coast Conference. It's one of those tournaments where you need to try to finish in the top half, but not. I mistakenly said everybody does not qualify for the West Coast Conference. That is not the case. All 12 teams do qualify for the conference tournament, and it just goes on. If you are finished like in the top 2 seeds, you get an automatic automatic bye to the semis. Finish 3 or 4, you get an automatic bye in the quarters. I wanted to clarify something I said that was erroneous earlier when I was talking about the West Coast Conference tournament. Oregon State currently sitting in 5th. That would get them a first round, or a bye through the 3rd round, the way the West Coast Conference is set up. Seattle would currently be in the first round. Seattle minus 2.5. The line I saw when it tipped off was 6.5 for Seattle. So after the sluggish offensive start, we are just about set to go here. It's going to be 2 free throws at the line for Seattle as an Oregon State foul was called on Sutella right before the timeout. First free throw is up and good from Will Heimbrodt. One more free throw coming. And he misses that one. And the rebound pulled down by Oregon State. 5-4 lead for Seattle as the Beavers bring it up the floor. Jorge Diaz-Graham checks into the game at the timeout for Oregon State. This is Isaiah Sy with a great pass inside to Monk, but it's blocked. And back comes Seattle the other way. Here's Maldonado with the lob inside, knocked away nicely defensively by Oregon State. It will stay with Seattle. Inbound it comes. Yao with it on the outside for Seattle. Over now to Maldonado, and the Redhawks set the offense with 15 on the shot clock. Over it goes to Arrington. Back to Maldonado as the Redhawks work it around the arc into Arrington. Arrington looking to drive, gets cut off, sends it back outside to Maldonado. 4 to shoot. Maldonado will put up a 3, and it's off the front of the rim, and it's rebounded by Oregon State. Seattle continues their cold shooting start. This is Josiah Lake for Oregon State with it. Over to wide, back over to Lake. And now on the drive, kicking it outside. Sutella. That's Jorge Diaz-Graham, excuse me. Bounce pass to Lake. Lake goes inside off the glass. That's no good. Another good defensive stand underneath for Seattle. And back come the Redhawks with Arrington bringing it across the midcourt stripe. Arrington gives it off to Maldonado. Maldonado bounce pass inside. And going up for a dunk, and it's no good. But we're going to have a foul. Again, I apologize on these pronunciations if I'm not getting these pronunciations right. This is the first time I've done these two. Huron Don, I hope that's right. He's heading to the free throw line for Seattle. Yeah. First free throw up and good. Mephisto, oh yeah, that under is about to hit like crazy. Yeah, if you pick the under on this one, you're looking in pretty good shape right now. Second free throw is also good. So 2 free throws extends the Seattle lead to 3 with 14:19 to play here in the first half as the Beavers will bring it up across the midcourt stripe. Here's Des White with it on the outside. Pass to Isaiah Sy, and we have a foul outside on Seattle. It'll be their first foul of the game. Rondon is called for the foul. And an under the basket inbound for Oregon State. And then it comes to Graham. Nearly turned over, but Des White able to get to the loose ball. White kicks it now to Cy. Cy goes underneath. Nice pass, but can't finish. And now the ball loose on the floor, picked up by the Redhawks. Yao with it. Yao will now drive, get to the foul line, and get bumped on the drive. Jorge Diaz-Graham will be called for his first foul, team's third on Oregon State. Oh, Manfisto, I appreciate the sub. Yeah, still fairly new at this in my first year doing this, so still trying to get that sub count. So any sub I get from you guys, I greatly appreciate you. Here come the Redhawks. Here comes a three-point look on the way. That's good. And the first three-pointer of the game. This one off the hands of John Christophilus with the three-pointer, and it's all of a sudden a 6-point lead for the Redhawks at 10-4. Oregon State trying to answer with a three-pointer by Cy. That's off the back rim, and back comes Seattle with the rebound. JoJo Murphy brings it up. And here comes another three-pointer. That's off the front of the rim this time and knocked out of bounds. It's going to go the other way to Oregon State. And Malik Arrington, as he's going after that loose ball, goes about 6 rows up into the stands. Here come the Beavers, stuck on 4 points here as we're at the 12:45 mark of the first half. Here comes a three-pointer on the way. That is good, and that'll stop the scoring drought for Oregon State. Matija Samar with a three-pointer from the outside to cut it to a 3-point game at 10-7. JoJo Murphy on offense for Seattle. Here's Murphy getting a 3-point look. That's off the front of the rim. No good. Rebound by Oregon State. Seattle just one of their first 5 from beyond the arc. Bounce pass here in the foul line. Jumper is up and good, and that's 5 straight for Oregon State. Yak with the jumper, and it's 10-9. This is an Oregon State team with a lot of foreign players on it. Murphy, nice pass inside, and the finish for Christophilus on a great feed from JoJo Murphy, and it makes it a 12-9 game. Nearing the 11.5-minute mark here in the first half. Oregon State looking to run the offense here, kicking it outside now for a 3. That's off the back rim. Oregon State just one of their first 4 themselves from beyond the arc. Back comes Seattle. Scoring now starting to pick up a little bit after the sluggish start. Redhawks working around the outside. JoJo Murphy with it. 12 on the shot clock for Seattle. Murphy now looking to drive, but gets cut off. And Murphy gives it off to the outside to Heimbrodt. And Heimbrodt will shoot and hit a 3. Heimbrodt with 6 here for Seattle, and that is the Redhawk lead is 6. 15-9. And we have a out-of-bounds play and a timeout with 10:43 to go in the first half. 15-9. Seattle, a 6-point game, or a 6-point lead, I should say, over Oregon State. I was reading one of the comments here. Ohel Patron 98, Murray State. Yeah, I was actually watching that Murray State-Belmont game before I jumped on this game. That was a pretty good game there in the Missouri Valley. Belmont pulled away there in the second half, and Belmont, if I'm not mistaken, that will clinch at least a share of the Missouri Valley regular season title for Belmont. That is a heck of a ball club there in Nashville. You're a little behind the ESPN play. Yeah, I know it. On the ESPN, it's got that delay on my TV. So yeah, I know I usually am a little bit behind the actual action. I can't. Liam Wynn can't find this game on Fubo. Well, it's on ESPN Plus, so I don't know. I don't have Fubo, so I'm not sure if you need a subscription for that on there. Or Oregon State coming in here 7-7. This is their final year in the West Coast Conference. They were only in this conference for 2 seasons. They will head back to the Pac-12, which gets back in play next year. Oregon State as well as Washington State moving over last season for 2 seasons in the West Coast Conference before heading back on over. To the Pac-12. It'll be a very new look Pac-12 next year. Final score in the other game that took place in the West Coast Conference today, San Francisco 92-79 win over San Diego. Following the timeout, Beavers with the ball. Here comes another three-pointer. That is too strong. Oregon State still cold from beyond the arc. And Seattle pulls down the rebound as JoJo Murphy will bring it up and passes off now to Maldonado, who checked back in at the timeout. And that pass knocked out of bounds by Oregon State. It will stay with Seattle with 17 on the shot clock. Inbound from Maldonado to JoJo Murphy. And in the corner, nice defensive play there for Oregon State. It looked like it was going to be an open three-pointer. Now with 8 on the shot clock, here comes a 3 off the rim, no good. Rebound pulled down by the Beavers, and back the other way they come as we hit the midway point of the first half. Dangerous pass there, almost turned over. And now it goes inside to Yak, and we have a foul. This is going to go the other way. This is going to be an offensive foul on Oregon State. Now on the outside, Maldonado. Maldonado cross-court pass to Murphy. Murphy driving. Murphy gets underneath, but gets cut off and has to send it back outside. And we have a player down for Seattle over there by the Oregon State bench. We have a stoppage of play. Can't tell who that is. Not sure who that is, the Seattle player that's down on the other side. So with 9:31 to go here in the first half, we have an injury stoppage here. It's right in front of the Oregon State bench. Oh, that's Maldonado that's down, it looks like. It is Maldonado. He is up, but favoring that right leg, it looks like. So sure hope he's going to be okay. Didn't see what happened there. I was looking, the ball was on the other side of the court, so I was actually looking at the ball, so I did not see exactly what happened. But Maldonado was definitely limping and favoring that right leg. Appreciate all of y'all jumping in on the live chat tonight. Sorry, they're going by a little quick. If I miss answering one of y'all, I apologize. Inside, nice feed. That shot hit the side of the backboard, and that's going to expire the shot clock. That's going to be a shot clock violation. Hey, Liam, win tomorrow. Any good bet? If this falls, I don't want responsibility, but take Iowa State over Houston tomorrow. I'm not sold on Houston being a top 5 team. I haven't been all year, but Oregon State the other way. And here comes an open three. Nope, passing the three. Now we'll take the 2. That's off the back rim. Oregon State now just 4 of 14 from the floor. And back comes Seattle. Murphy gets cut off. Murphy will send it back outside, and Seattle will reset. Heimbrodt over to Murphy in the corner for 3. That's too strong. Redhawks with an offensive rebound. But then they turn it over, and Oregon State comes out with the loose ball. Oregon State with 8.5 to go here in the first half is stuck on 9 points, and we have a foul outside on Seattle. This one's going to be on Austin Maurer. That'll be his first. And it'll be an Oregon State inbound from quarter court. Only the 5th foul combined here in the first half. So it's been a very clean game so far. Oregon State inbound. Inbound comes to Keziah Ikisi, and the jumper on the way is no good. Shooting woes continue for Oregon State, and back comes Seattle. JoJo Murphy bringing it up the floor for the Redhawks. Murphy, nice bounce pass inside. And the layup is turnaround is up and good for Huron Don. That's his second field goal, his first field goal. 4 points now for Don, and it's 17-9 Seattle as we're under 8 to go in the half. Josiah Lake on the outside. Here comes an open three-pointer. That's way off the mark from Des White. And the rebound to Seattle. Bounce pass outside to Heimbrodt. And faking on the three-pointer is Yao. He'll drive inside, score, count it, and a foul. Junsuk Yao with the basket. He'll have a chance for a 3-point play, and the Redhawks have taken a 10-point lead. 19-9 with 7:23 to play in the first half. Good start offensively and some great defense for Seattle as well in this game. Holding Oregon State to 9 points here in the first 12 and a half minutes. Liam, tomorrow you doing any games? I'm glad you asked. Yeah, actually, I'm going to have a Southland Conference battle tomorrow between a Stephen F. Austin team that's only lost 3 games all season long. They will be taking on Texas A&M Corpus Christi. I will be on for that live stream tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Jump on about 5 to 7 minutes prior. That is a very, very good Stephen F. Austin team. But again, the Southland Conference, usually only a 1-bid league. So they're in about the same situation that Miami of Ohio is. Good team, but maybe one of those cases where you're going to have to win the conference tournament in order to get in for the Lumberjacks there of Stephen F. Austin. Going to have a lot of college basketball on this live stream as we are down to about the last 2 or 3 weeks here of the regular season as conference tournaments get underway here in, well, just a couple weeks. Those smaller conferences will start tournament play. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe our first conference tournament starts 2 weeks from tonight. Hard to believe we are almost at the end of the regular season in college basketball. And here we got 2 teams fighting for position in the West Coast Conference. Oregon State, but they're just off to a 4 for 16 shooting start tonight for 25%. Seattle at 7 of 20 for 35%. Team's not doing much from beyond the 3-point arc right now. Oregon State 1 for 6, Seattle 2 for 8. Will Heimbrodt leading the way right now for Seattle with 6 points. Seattle will have a 3-point opportunity here following the timeout as Junseok Yao will head to the free throw line for Seattle. So Yao trying to extend this lead to 11 with the free throw. 7:23 remaining in the first half. Free throw up, and it is no good. He banked it off the back rim, and then we're going to have an over-the-back foul on the rebound. This is going to be on Huron Don, I think, and that'll be his second. So Don with 2 fouls. He's probably going to have to go to the bench here. Oregon State needs to find some offense here. They're just 4 for 16 from the floor and are stuck on 9 points at the 7:22 mark here in the first half. And Seattle putting a little bit of press on the inbound here, but the Beavers do get it in, and they will bring it up across the midcourt stripe. Now on the outside, a double team. Des White draws on the outside, and White turns it over. A surprise double team out there threw White off guard, and he turns it over. Oregon State's 3rd turnover of the first half. Redhawks with it. Here's Yao driving inside, and Yao took too many steps. He's called for traveling. That'll be the 4th Seattle turnover. Scoring drought here for Oregon State is approaching 4 minutes. And there's going to be a drive inside, and they'll finally have a chance to break the scoring drought with free throws as there's a foul here on the Redhawks. Des White at the line for 2 for Oregon State. First is short, and I beg your pardon, that is not White. That's that's Josiah Lake. My apologies. One more free throw coming for Josiah Lake, and it's good. Seattle substitution here. John Christophilus back in the ballgame. The free throw breaks the scoring drought for Oregon State, but they still trail by 9, 6:45 remaining opening half. That was almost a backcourt violation for Heimbrodt, and then they throw the ball. Well, yeah, they throw the ball out of bounds. Heimbrodt was almost in the front court and then went back into the backcourt. You have to have your whole body in the front court. He almost was, but then followed it up with a pass out of bounds, and Seattle turns it over. Oregon State up the floor, looking to snap this field goal drought they're in. Josiah Lake with it. Lake looking to drive. Lake gets cut off. Now in trouble, drawing a double team, viable to get it outside. And now Lake in the corner for 3. That's off the back rim, no good. And it will go not out of bounds. Seattle will come down with the rebound. Looked like it was headed out of bounds to the Seattle bench, but the Redhawks able to save it. Now outside, this is Arrington. Arrington now will get bumped inside, put it up and score. No foul there, but Arrington is able to get it to go for his first 2 points. And that makes it 21-10 Seattle. Beavers back the other way. The runner, that's blocked underneath the basket, and Arrington comes out with the loose ball for Seattle. And we have a timeout for Seattle. It looked like, Heimbrodt got to the ball, called the timeout. It looked like he got kneed in the back of the neck. And Heimbrodt is down holding the back of his neck. I love your screen name. Don loves to eat. Not sure it'll be a blowout. Belmont proved comeback. Yeah, that was a heck of a second half for Belmont in that game today against Murray State. Well, they end up scoring 60. What they have? 63 points in the second half, Belmont, something like that. Liam, I'm not sure if you're talking to me on that Kalshi. I have not been on that app yet. I keep seeing the ads for it, but no, I have not jumped on there yet. Here comes a three-pointer. That is a swish. John Christophoulos, he's got 8 points off the bench. He's the leading scorer for Seattle, and it is 24-10 Redhawks as we go under 5 to play in the first half. Sutella. Now on the outside is Isaiah Sy. Back to Sutella. Sutella drives inside and throws it away. Tried to go into the corner, but the pass had too much mustard on it, and Oregon State with another turnover. Up across the midcourt stripe comes Seattle. Here's Murphy. Murphy off, and now a three-pointer again for Christophoulos. He's got 11, and the lead is 17 for Seattle. Timeout, Oregon State. And the Redhawks have come out on fire here now as their offense has picked up 27-10 lead. And with 4:24 to go in the half, this will also serve as the under 4 timeout. It is all Redhawks so far in this first half, as their shooting is up to 43%, and they have held Oregon State to 4 of 18 from the field. Oregon State has the same amount of field goals as they do turnovers here in the first half. Coming up at halftime, we will run down a college basketball scoreboard. Not a real big schedule today. We had one top 25 team in action today, Illinois. They were up against Indiana. That was not much of a contest. We'll run down the college basketball scoreboard, update you on some other sports news across the country. NBA All-Star Weekend. That NASCAR season started with the Daytona 500. Boy, what a hectic finish that was. We'll run down all the sports news coming up at the half. And here it's 27-10, a big start for Seattle. Seattle coming in just 4-9 in the West Coast Conference. Oregon State 7-7. A pretty good crowd for a late Sunday afternoon, early Sunday evening in the Pacific Northwest. Oregon State will bring it up the floor. Josiah Lake. Now in the corner, here's a three-pointer. That's off the back rim. Field goal drought continues for the Beavers. It is out of bounds off Seattle. It will stay with Oregon State. Inbound underneath the basket. Here's an open three off the inbound. That's good. And finally, the field goal drought is snapped. Matija Samar. Nope, they're calling that a long two-pointer. So it's 27-12. And at the other end, we have a turnover. Oregon State probably needs to get this thing to about 8 to 10 points by halftime. And it comes to Oregon State, and they will bring it up across the midcourt stripe as we go under 4 minutes here in the first half. And now on the drive, layup is up and good. Back-to-back baskets for Oregon State. That's Isaiah Sy putting it in on the layup. And the Beavers are within 13 here at 27-14. Seattle with possession. Trying to go inside, but cannot. Instead, it's off to Christophilus, who's had the hot hand, and it continues with the jumper from just beyond the foul line. Christophilus with 13 here in the half for Seattle. Comes in averaging only 5.6 on the season. John Christophilus is only 1 point shy of Oregon State's total here in the first half. Inbound it comes. Des White with it. White on the outside. This is Sy. Sy has it blocked underneath the basket. And back comes Seattle the other way. Coast to coast layup up and good from Joe Murphy. And just like that, the lead back to 17 at the 2:40 mark of the first half. Behind the back with it. Nice pass inside. And the finish for Yak on the great feed. 31-16. Christophilus on the outside gives it off, and another three-pointer. That one's no good. Loose ball on the floor picked up by Oregon State. Oregon State up the floor. And the drive inside, we're going to have a foul on Seattle. And that will be the penalty, as that is now 17 fouls. So Oregon State will head to the line. Josiah Lake at the line for a 1-and-1 and missed it. Seattle with the rebound, up 15, under 2 to go, first half. Redhawks with it. This is Arrington. Arrington draws a double team outside, passes it inside now. And the long jumper on the way is no good. Rebound pulled down by Oregon State. That's Lake with the rebound. Lake. Over now to Jorge Diaz-Graham, and we're going to have another foul on Seattle. This will send Oregon State back to the line. Diaz-Graham at the line for a 1-and-1. $128 remaining here in the first half. First of the 1-and-1 up and good. Second one for Diaz Graham is also good, and that cuts the lead to 13 now at 31-18. Redhawks bringing up the floor with Arrington. And now a deep three-pointer is too strong. That was a little quick. But Seattle gets the offensive rebound. And a fresh 20. Work it around. And now a top of the key, wide open three-pointer is good from Will Heimbrodt. He's got 9 in the half, and the lead back to 16 at 34-18. Seattle with their 5th three-pointer of the half, and now we've got a turnover. Arrington puts it up, no, but he is fouled and will go to the line. Malik Arrington heading to the line here for 2. First free throw is good. One more coming for Arrington. Got them both. And the lead up to 18 now for Seattle at 36-18. Final 45 seconds, first half. Beavers bringing up the floor with Akisi. Akisi, pass deflected and stolen. Oregon State's 6th turnover of the first half, and now the Redhawks will slow it down. And they will now take their use it or lose it first half timeout here with 29.2 to go in the half. Guys, again, I so appreciate you guys jumping in on the live chat. I'm trying to answer all of y'all. If I've missed a lot of you, I know. I apologize. Not real familiar with. I'm be honest. I'm not real familiar with both of these teams, so I have to have my roster sheet on so I can see who has possession, so I don't have the live chat on constantly. There's about a 5.5 second difference here, shot clock, game clock, so Seattle can pretty much almost run this clock out for the rest of the first half. Redhawks will inbound. And here's Arrington, and Arrington just dribbling out at quarter court. Down to 15 seconds. 10 on the shot clock. Arrington with a bounce pass to Heimbrodt. Heimbrodt looking to drive inside against a double team. Puts it up, can't get it to go. Rebound Oregon State. They have one shot at it here with 5 seconds. And a long cross-court pass. Here's a three-pointer at the horn that is no good from Des White. And that's how the first half ends. It is all Redhawks at the half. 36-18 over Oregon State. And the Redhawks, who come in losers of 4 out of 5, are looking to get out of that funk. And boy, have they so far in this first half, as it is an 18-point lead for Seattle at the half over Oregon State, 36-18. Well, here at the half, we had a minimal slate today in college basketball as far as big game. We only had one top 25 team in action today, and that was number 8, Illinois, in the Big Ten. They hosted Indiana. I've done a few Illinois games on the live streams this year. That is a very, very good team, and they showed it once again today as they pick up a 20-point win over Indiana, 71-51 for the 8th-ranked Illini. Indiana, they're one of those teams that's on the bubble right now for the NCAA. This definitely did not help matters, a blowout loss in Champaign, although it was to a very good Illinois team. Oh, Fishman, I appreciate the kind words in the live chat. So Illinois has continuing to just roll. They're now 12-3 in the Big Ten, still 2 games behind Michigan. But they have a blowout win today over Indiana. Indiana, that bubble talk's going to continue for the Hoosiers. We have a huge college basketball game tomorrow, 9 o'clock Eastern time in the Big 12. Number 3 Houston visiting Ames, Iowa, taking on the 5th-ranked Iowa State Cyclones. Those are the rankings right now. Of course, the new poll comes out tomorrow, so those rankings may change on Houston and Iowa State. But as of right now, that is a top 5 matchup in Ames tomorrow night. Number 4, Duke, also in action tomorrow night at Cameron Indoor. They will be hosting Syracuse. So 3 top 5 teams in action tomorrow. Of course, 2 facing each other. That big Houston SMU matchup. Houston SMU. Where did I get SMU out of that? Houston Iowa State matchup tomorrow night. And I don't know where that SMU came from, but Houston Iowa State game tomorrow night. Of course, later on this week, we've got another big game in the Big Ten. Michigan taking on Purdue. Michigan probably going to go to number 1 in the AP poll tomorrow because Arizona came into this week one of 2 undefeated teams in the country. They lost not once but twice this week. Arizona suffered their first loss of the season at Allen Fieldhouse to Kansas on Monday. Followed that up yesterday with a home loss to Texas Tech. So back-to-back losses for Arizona. So should see Michigan as the new number 1 team when the poll comes out tomorrow. College basketball is down now to the 1 undefeated team, and that is the other Redhawks, the Miami of Ohio Redhawks. The lone undefeated team. They stayed that way with a win over Ohio coming up on Friday. The undefeated Miami Redhawks are next in action on Tuesday as they will be at UMass. I will have that game on the live stream, 7 o'clock Eastern time, Tuesday night. As long as Miami stays undefeated, if possible, I'm going to try to do the live stream on all their remaining games. Like I said, as long as they stay undefeated. Work schedule for me permitting on that, but would like to try and see Miami through to the end if they can stay undefeated. They're at UMass coming up on Tuesday. Of course, the Winter Olympic Games continue. The updated medal count out there in Italy is as follows. Norway, boy, what a games Norway is having. They're now up to 6 medals as they have the outright medal count. Host country Italy in second. They're at 22. Is third in the medal count. They have 17 of those 17 medals. 5 of them are actually tied with tomorrow and all next week out there in Italy. Women's ice hockey team, women's United States ice hockey team in action tomorrow against Sweden. That is a semifinal in women's hockey in Italy tomorrow. Winner of that Sweden-U.S. game plays for the gold against the winner of Canada and Switzerland, the other semifinal in women's hockey. That will be tomorrow, and of course, one of the big featured events of this year's Olympics. We've got the figure skating pairs final tomorrow night. Well, actually, tomorrow afternoon Eastern time in the U.S., 2 o'clock Eastern time. Of course, Italy, a 6-hour difference out there, so it would be tomorrow night out there in Italy. So we've got the pairs figure skating gold medal tomorrow. Men's ice hockey will continue on Tuesday. So one more week of the Olympics out there in Italy. Been a very entertaining Olympic Games so far this year. And of course, in other sports news, we had the NASCAR season opening up today with the Daytona 500. Boy, what a finish we had out there in Daytona. And Tyler Reddick ended up in the lead as he got the lead on the last turn as we had a multi-car crash coming to the finish line. Tyler Reddick gets the win in Daytona to start off the NASCAR season. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. coming in second. Joey Logano ended up third. Chase Elliott fourth. So NASCAR season getting underway, and Boyd, if that's an indication of how the NASCAR season is going to be this year, it's going to be a doozy of a season. Of course, if you're following NASCAR on a regular basis like I do, that's no longer the win a race and in. They're back to that chase format that they used up until 2014. So a good start for Reddick to start the NASCAR season. NASCAR goes to Atlanta next week. The race there in Atlanta. Of course, NBA All-Star Weekend is this weekend. It had that new format. Not sure what I think about that, but they had to do something because the other format where you had teams scoring 200 points. That was... So, but the Team Stars team won the NBA All-Star Game. 47-21 was that final. NBA season will resume following the All-Star break coming up on Thursday with a pretty much a full slate. Coming up following the All-Star break, the conference leaders at the All-Star break in the NBA in the Eastern Conference, Detroit, the Pistons, are the best team in the East by 5.5 games right now. Detroit is just running away with the East. And, of course, the defending NBA champion Oklahoma City Thunder, they have a 3-game lead in the West for the number 1 seed. And so you think Iowa takes it tomorrow, huh? I do. Since I'm not doing that game tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and call. Yeah, I think Iowa State. I've been wanting to call Iowa State everything tonight except Iowa State. But yeah, Iowa State. Yes, I think Iowa State. They are tough at home. Again, as I said before, in case you meant, Houston is a very good team. I have not been sold on them being a top 5 team all season, and I think they are going to get – I'm not going to say they're going to get run out of the gym tomorrow, but I do think Iowa State will have their way. And I do pick Iowa State to get the win over Houston in Ames tomorrow. What's that other comment here on the live chat? Do you think Lake scores 10 points here? He's got 3. I do think he's going to get to the 10-point mark. You don't figure Oregon State. Let's run down the first half stats in this game. Seattle in that first half shot 13 out of 30 for 43%. They were 5 of 14 from beyond the 3-point arc for 36%. 5 of 7 at the free throw line for 71%. Oregon State just 7 of 24 shooting in that first half for 29%, just 1 of 9 from beyond the arc. You don't figure Oregon State's going to shoot that badly 2 halves in a row, but we'll see. They were 3 of 5 at the free throw line for 60%. Big rebound edge in the first half for Seattle, 22-12, but with all those missed shots for Oregon State, it obviously created a lot of rebounding opportunities for the Redhawks. Both teams turned it over 6 times. In that first half, Redhawks were led off the bench by John Christophoulos, 13 points. He only averages 5.5 a game. He had a whale of a first half on 5 of 6 shooting and 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. 9 points from Will Heimbrodt. 4 points apiece from Yoon Sok Yao, Malik Arrington, and Haran Don, and 2 points out of JoJo Murphy. Oregon State was led by 5 points off the bench by Matisha Samar, 4 points from Yak Yak. Josiah Lake, who we were just mentioning there on the live chat, 3 points in that first half. and 2 apiece from Olavi Sutella, Isaiah Sy, and Jorge Diaz-Graham. So, yeah, Josiah Lake, leading scorer for Oregon State at 13.4 a contest, held to 3 in that first half. Got Josiah over 14 and a half. I think that's still possible because, like I said, I very doubtful see Oregon State shooting that poorly 2 halves in a row, but we'll see. But they are going to have to start shooting well to get back in this, as they are down 18 points here at halftime, 36-18 to Seattle. Second meeting of the season between these two teams. They met back on the 8th of January in Corvallis. That was a win for Oregon State in that game. So Oregon State looking for the season sweep over Seattle, but they've got a big uphill climb here. That final score in that game was 68-55. And Oregon State wins. Seattle this season, Seattle jumped out to an 11-2 start this year. They have kind of faltered here the last month and a half or so, as coming in 15-11, but they're looking like the early season Seattle here in the first half, having their way with the Oregon State Beavers here at halftime, 36-18. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, the new top 25 poll is going to come out tomorrow, and fully expect to see Michigan go to number 1 tomorrow in that. Coming into this week, the top 25 look like this. Of course, Arizona was number 1. They're not going to be. Michigan was 2, Houston was 3, Duke was 4, and Iowa State was 5. So we'll see. That could possibly be a top 4 matchup tomorrow night in Ames between Houston and Iowa State. They're currently ranked 3rd and 5th, respectively. That very well could be a 2 and a 4 by the time the poll comes out tomorrow. We'll see how big of a drop Arizona takes. Those were 2 very good teams they lost to. Allen Fieldhouse, always a tough place to play. That's one of the places on my bucket list to get to see a game at Allen Fieldhouse. I have not been there in person. I hope to get there one day. But loss at Kansas and at home to Texas Tech. Those are 2 very good games. You get Texas Tech at home. If you're Arizona, you figured you'd get that game at home, but that was not to be the case, as Texas Tech picked up the overtime win in Tucson yesterday. I told you some of the featured games coming up this week in college basketball. We got Michigan-Purdue coming up this week. Big battle there in the Big Ten. That's probably going to be the number 1 team, Michigan, going to Mackey Arena later on this week. Arizona will try to right the ship on Wednesday. They will take on BYU. They defeated BYU about 3 weeks ago in Provo. So Arizona, looking to get back on track and snap this 2-game losing streak that they've went on. Is he under 137.5 safe? Well, it's going to have to be a big second half if we're going to get to 137. Is that with the over? I didn't even pay attention on the over-under. I just saw the final line look like was Seattle minus 6.5, but I actually never noticed the over-under. So the Beavers, big uphill climb facing them. Mentioned in the standings, Oregon State coming into this game 5th at 7-7. Gonzaga has a 1/2 game lead over Santa Clara at the top of the West Coast Conference. St. Mary's 1 game back. That is a very, very good Santa Clara team. I actually had a live stream of them once earlier in the season, very early in the season, and the game I did at Xavier, they took it to the Big East Xavier Musketeers on the road in that live stream game I did earlier in the year with them. That's a very good team. Seattle currently sitting in 9th, or in 10th rather. They can move up to 9th. They would, if they hang on here, they would pass San Diego and move into 9th. If Oregon State does not come back, they will fall into a 5th place tie with San Francisco. San Francisco winning at San Diego earlier tonight, 92-79 in West Coast Conference play. So we are just about ready for half number 2. Oregon State inbounds as we are underway in the second half. This is Josiah Lake with it. And we are going to have, it looks like, a foul on Seattle to open the second half. And that's going to be the 3rd foul on Austin Maurer right out of the gate here in the second half for Seattle. So Maurer with foul number 3. Lake, bounce pass inside. And a turnover for Oregon State to open the second half. 7th turnover of the game. And right the other way, an easy bucket there for Huron Don, who gets the second half start for Seattle. And the Redhawks are now up 20, 38-18. Oregon State somehow, some way, has got to find some offense to try to get back in this game. Here's a 3-pointer. That's no good. Rebound pulled down by Seattle. Shooting woes continue for the Beavers. Just 28% for the game. Heimbrodt. And now in the corner, we have got a turnover against Seattle. Braden Maldonado, if you remember, got banged up and injured his leg in the first half. We have not seen him since that injury. Here come the Beavers with the basketball. Lake with it. Lake looking to drive, cannot. Now we'll kick it back out. Des White with it now. White with a great feed underneath and a nice pass there for Des White, and the finish underneath the basket for Johan Munk, and Oregon State on the board in the second half, 38-20. Here's Heimbrodt. Heimbrodt gets cut off, will now drive inside, miss the short shot underneath, and the rebound pulled down by Oregon State as they have a chance to get a little bit closer. Josiah Lake with it on the outside. Lake, the leading scorer for Oregon State, still just 3 points. He's only shot 5 shots in the game. Open 3-pointer, instead it was passed up. And instead given off to Lake. Lake almost turns it over. 4 to shoot. Lake with it, now dribbles off his foot and turns it over. Back comes Seattle, and a foul on Oregon State. First foul of the second half on the Beavers. And this is a shooting foul, so this will be 2 shots. Will Heimbrodt at the line. First free throw short. One more coming. Second one, no good either. And it looks like we're going to have a lane violation on Oregon State. How many turnovers does Will have? Will has 2 turnovers at the moment. So Heimborough will get a second chance at the line and makes good on the second attempt. 39-20, 2.5 minutes old, second half. Here's Josiah Lake. Off it goes to Cy. Lake with a bounce pass inside, and the turnaround off the glass, no good, but there's an offensive rebound putback as Isaiah Cy gets the putback, his second field goal, and it makes it 39-22. Arrington with it at the top of the key for Seattle. Gives it off here to Yunsok Yao. Yao go, and now we'll take a three-pointer up, around, and out. That was halfway down and rimmed out, and then we have an Oregon State loose ball foul on the rebound. This one's going to go against Monk, I think. That'll be his second. Seattle will inbound under the basket. And the inbound comes to, the inbound comes to JoJo Murphy, and he will put it in from the paint and makes it 41-22. JoJo Murphy now with 4 points. Back comes Oregon State the other way. Bounce pass inside, a double team, and it ends up a turnover. Oregon State got kind of stuck underneath the basket in no man's land and had nowhere to go and turned the ball over for the 9th time. At the other end, great feed underneath the basket for Seattle, and the off-balance shot is no good. And it looks like we're going to have a traveling violation. Haran kind of got hung up in no man's land himself. 8th turnover on Seattle. Here comes Oregon State. Off-balance shot inside. That won't drop. Oregon State now 9 of 29 from the floor. Arrington, nice pass. Inside, down goes up, but missed the dunk. And back comes Oregon State the other way. And it's going to end up a layup attempt. No good, but the follow is 41-24. Johan Monk on the putback for Oregon State. JoJo Murphy brings it across the midcourt stripe for Seattle. Gives it off to Yao. Back to Murphy. Murphy now given instructions. Murphy looking to drive. Fakes the shot from beyond the foul line. Now kicks it off to a jumper that is no good from Christopoulos. And the ball out of bounds. It's going to go to Oregon State, and that will bring us to our first time out of the second half. With 15-11 to play, 41-24, Seattle still a comfortable lead over Oregon State. Yeah, apologize. The way on the live chat was looking at, I apologize for a couple of these calls. The feed on ESPN Plus is jumping a little bit tonight, so if I'm a little delayed on that's why. But Oregon State just 32% shooting tonight. Seattle at 42%. They're not exactly shooting lights out, but they do have 5 3-pointers tonight. Oregon State just 1 of 10 from beyond the 3-point arc. Josiah Lake continuing to struggle tonight for the Beavers' leading scorer. He's just 1 of 6 shooting the basketball. Looking ahead for these two teams. Following this game, Oregon State will pretty much get the whole week off. They don't play again until Saturday back in Corvallis, a home game with Pepperdine. Seattle does have a midweek game at home against St. Mary's. That'll be a tough one. Seattle has 4 games left after tonight. Oregon State has 3 games remaining in the regular season. West Coast Conference, one of the early conference tournaments. Following the timeout, it'll be an Oregon State inbound. Oregon State will bring it in here, as Lake will bring it up across the midcourt stripe. 5 minutes old, second half. This is Isaiah Sy on the outside. Gives it off to Lake. Lake at the top of the key. Shot clock down to 3 for Oregon State. Another bad pass. This shot clock's going to expire. Shot clock violation against Oregon State. That'll be their 10th turnover. Here come the Redhawks. JoJo Murphy brings it up across midcourt. Off to Arrington. Arrington back over to Murphy. Murphy giving instructions to the offense now. Murphy will back it out. Bounce pass into Yao. And we've got a foul underneath the basket off the ball on Oregon State. Third team foul the second half. And Seattle will inbound. And off the inbound, another 3 for John Christophoulos. He's got 16 for Seattle, and the lead is 20 for the Redhawks. That ties their largest of the game. And now we've got a bumping foul outside. This is going to be on Don. That's going to be his third. So Don and Maurer, 3 fouls apiece for Seattle. Inbound comes to Lake. Lake off to Yak. Lake draws a double team, almost turns it over, and now Seattle forces a held ball, and Seattle will have the possession arrow. Lake got kind of stuck out there on a double team, didn't get a lot of help, and Seattle tied him up. This is Murphy across the midcourt stripe. Over to Arrington. Nearing 13 and a half to play. Arrington back over to Murphy. Murphy, the lob inside too high, and a turnover for Seattle. And back comes Oregon State the other way. Turnaround by Yak with the right hand is good. That's a good hook shot there. That gives him 6. 44-26. Arrington back over to Murphy. Murphy bounce pass inside, drawing a double team outside to Murphy for a 3, and that is good. JoJo Murphy hits a 3. He's got 7, and Seattle with their largest lead of the night of 21. Outside, Oregon State trying to answer with a 3. They cannot. They're now 1 of 11 from beyond the arc. Murphy to Arrington, and another 3-pointer around and out. Rebound to Oregon State. That may have been, even though there's still 12 and a half minutes left, had that dropped, that might have been your knockout punch. Lob goes inside. The turnaround jumper up too strong. Rebound pulled down by Seattle. Redhawks slow it up as Arrington brings it across the midcourt stripe. Here's Murphy. Murphy looking for some help, gives it back outside to Arrington. Arrington finds Heimbrodt. Heimbrodt with 10 to shoot. Heimbrodt on the drive. Heimbrodt puts it up, has the shot knocked out of bounds. It will still be Seattle ball with 5 on the shot clock, and we hit the under 12 with 11:58 to go. All Redhawks tonight, 47-26 over Oregon State. Seattle 17 of 40 from the floor, but they are a respectable 7 of 18 tonight from three-point range at 39%. Shooting woes continuing for the Beavers. They're just 11 of 34 and just 1 of 11 from beyond the arc. But boy, John Christophilus, the hot hand tonight for Seattle, 16 points off the bench. He's almost tripled his season output of 5.5 points. Will Heimbrodt with 10 points, the 2 in double figures for Seattle. Yak leading the way for Oregon State with 6 points. Again, a reminder during the timeout here, I will be back on the live stream tomorrow night for a Southland Conference battle between the Lumberjacks of Stephen F. Austin and the Islanders of Texas A&M Corpus Christi. That will be an 8 o'clock Eastern time tip-off. I'll be on 7:52-ish, 7:53-ish for that game tomorrow. Stephen F. Austin coming into that game, they are 23-3 on the season. That is a very good team down there in Nacogdoches, Texas. Lumberjacks and Islanders tomorrow night, Southland Conference battle. Here, 11:58 to go. It is all Redhawks up 21 on Oregon State. It'll be Seattle inbounding out of the timeout. Arrington gets it in, and a layup is good, +1. It'll be a 3-point opportunity as Heimbrodt gets the layup. And he will have a chance to complete the 3-point play. Heimbrodt nearing a double-double as he missed the free throw. He's got 12 points and 7 rebounds. That free throw wouldn't have counted anyway because we have a lane violation on Seattle, so Oregon State will get it. Beavers bring it in. This is Keziah Akisi bringing it up across the midcourt stripe. Pass goes inside, and the layup is up and good for Noah Ammenhauser. And he will have a chance for a 3-point play as he gets fouled in the process. And that's foul number 4 on Austin Maurer. So this will be a 3-point opportunity for Ammenhauser. He just checked into the game at the timeout for Oregon State. He misses the free throw, so cannot complete the 3-point play. And the lead remains 21 for Seattle, 49-28. Here's Arrington on the outside. Slowing it down and working the offense for Seattle. Arrington Now drive. Arrington lost control of the ball. And it looks like we are going to have a foul on the Beavers. This will be their 5th of the half. Going to get Keziah Akisi with his 2nd foul. Off the inbound, an easy layup for Seattle. 51-28. And this is going to be another turnover for the Beavers as the pass tried to go inside, but it was knocked away, and Seattle gets the steal. Murphy out to Arrington. Now Murphy dribbling on the outside. Murphy on the drive. Now getting free underneath the basket. Too strong on the layup attempt. And a foul on the rebound. This is going to go against Oregon State. So Oregon State already at 16 fouls. So Seattle will be shooting free throws from here on out. Junsak Yao returns to the lineup for Seattle. Here's Yao with it. To Heimbrodt. Kicks it outside for a wide open 3 that's no good. And out of bounds, knocked out by the Redhawks. It's going to go to Oregon State. Here come the Beavers. And the kick out outside for a 3-pointer that is good. Just the 2nd 3 of the night for Oregon State. This one for Matija Samar. He's got 8 points off the bench. He's now leading the way on the scoring column for Oregon State, and they pulled within 20 again. Bounce pass inside. This is Don. His shot is blocked, and then it goes off Don out of bounds. It's going to go to Oregon State. Oregon State brings it up across the midcourt stripe. Akisi on the drive. Akisi off the glass and in. Keziah Akisi. And that brings it down to 18 at 51-33. And Seattle almost turns it over again. And now Arrington will slow it down offensively for the Redhawks. 10 to shoot for Seattle. Arrington, bounce pass off the hands, but Seattle catches a break as it went off Oregon State. 7 on the shot clock. And a timeout is called with 9:09 to play. 51-33, Redhawks over the Beavers. See a lot of you talking in the live stream about Josiah Lake needing 3 more rebounds. I take it, I don't really follow that stuff much, but I take it there must have been an over-under 5 rebounds for him because he's only got 2 right now. So 3 points and 2 rebounds. A very, very quiet game for Josiah Lake tonight. John Christophilus and Will Heimbrodt leading the way tonight for Seattle. They have combined for 30 of the 51 points. Oregon State's bench has actually outscored the starters tonight. We were talking about Josiah Lake, the leading scorer for Oregon State, 13.4 a contest, held to 3 points tonight. Des White, the second leading scorer at 10 points a game. He is shut out tonight on 0 for 4 shooting. So the leading scorers for Oregon State held in check tonight by this Seattle Redhawks defensive play. It will be Seattle ball here out of the timeout. As we have just over 9 minutes remaining in this one. .909 to be exact. Seattle will bring it in under the basket. 7 on the shot clock for the Redhawks. They bring it into Arrington. And right through the hands of Yao, and a turnover for Seattle. That's their 10th. I don't think Yao was looking for that pass. It went right through his hands. Akisi brings it up for Oregon State. Off to Jorge Diaz-Graham. Now going inside and knocked out of bounds. What are they calling here? I didn't see a signal. Still haven't seen a signal. It's Oregon State's ball. Beavers get it in from the corner. And a reverse layup underneath. That was too far under the basket, but getting bailed out with a foul is Jorge Diaz-Graham, and he will head to the line for 2. .843 remaining. Diaz-Graham heads to the line. First free throw up and good. Second free throw for Diaz-Graham is also good, so he's now 4 for 4 from the line. 16-point game in favor of Seattle, 8:43 to play. And now Oregon State putting some press on here. Seattle able to break it as Heimbroek gets across the midcourt stripe. Heimbroek kicks it off in the corner, passing up on the open 3, instead dribbling it back outside and resetting the offense for Seattle. Now drive by Heimbroek, kicks it into the corner to Yao. Yao on the drive, has it swatted and blocked. Back comes Oregon State the other way, and a three-pointer up and good. And here come the Beavers as it's now 51-38. Three-point shot by Matija Samar. He's the first Oregon State player in double figures tonight, now with 11. And we've got a foul, it looks like, and that will bring us to the under 8 timeout. It is a foul on Oregon State. It's going to be on Jorge Diaz-Graham. That'll be his third. 7:57 to play, 51-38. Little mini run here for Oregon State. They've pulled within 13. Whoever the chat, just whoever that was asking for the TV broadcast, it's on ESPN Plus. If you have an ESPN Plus, some TV providers, whoever does, have some kind of ESPN Plus included with the subscription. So it is on ESPN Plus. So yes, it will be a shooting foul because Oregon State is over the limit now. So there will be free throws out of the timeout. You guys have been absolutely awesome on the live chat tonight, and I appreciate all the new subscribers tonight. You guys have just been absolutely awesome tonight. This is as close as Oregon State has been since the first half here. As it is a 13-point game. Still about 8 minutes to play, so there is time here for Oregon State, but was the deficit a little bit too big? We will find out here. .757 to be exact left on the second half clock. Seattle looking for win number 16 on the season and their 5th win in conference play. If Oregon State does not complete the comeback here, they would fall under 500 in conference play. So this will be a 1-and-1 here at the line. Free throw is short. Rebound Oregon State. Oregon State can get closer here. Here's Akisi. Bounce pass inside. Yak up too strong off the glass, but he is fouled, and he will head to the line. Foul is whistled on Brock Felder. And 2 free throws coming. First free throw up and no good. Both teams now 6 of 10 at the free throw line. One of 2 as the second free throw is good. 51-39, lead down to 12, and Oregon State putting some press on here. Heimbrod able to break it and get across the midcourt stripe. And there's a kick ball. That'll reset the shot clock to 20. Again, no Braden Maldonado here in the second half for Seattle. He was injured in the first half. Looked like a injury of the... Looked like his right leg. He was hobbling off on the right leg, and we haven't seen him since. In it comes to Arrington. Arrington with it on the outside. Arrington looking to drive, gets it into the corner. Shot clock down to 7 for Seattle. Here's Heimbrod, puts it on the ground and lost it. Turnover Seattle. Back comes Oregon State. Inside, Yak outside, open 3, up and good. And this is a 9-point game on a 3-pointer from Jorge Diaz-Graham. Looked like Matija Samar got hit in the nose as we have a stoppage of play. And here comes Oregon State. Figure that 29% shooting would be the case too. And here they come with just under 7 minutes to play. Murphy pass over to Arrington. And now Arrington setting the offense for Seattle. And we have got a foul underneath the basket on Oregon State. JoJo Murphy at the line for a 1-1 for Seattle. First is good. And that puts it back to double digits again. Second is also good. So those are 2 free throws to stop the run for Oregon State. And the lead back to 11. Now Seattle putting some press on the inbound. Back to Oregon State. We'll bring it across the timeline. Open 3, top of the key. That's too strong by Akisi. Rebound pulled down by Seattle. It was a quick shot, but it was an open look. Just didn't get it to fall. Arrington on the drive. Kicks it out in the corner. 3, too strong. Rebound pulled down by Oregon State. And back come the Beavers up the floor. And they will slow it down here as they kick it back outside to Samar. Samar thought about the 3, instead goes inside. Yak off the glass. No, but a follow dunk for Diaz-Graham, and it looked like he received an elbow at the end of that play as he is down, holding his face underneath the basket. See what happened here. Oh, yeah, Diaz-Graham got hit in the face. Nothing malicious, it didn't appear. But I'm sure the officials are going to go to the monitor to look at this to see if this foul gets some kind of elevated. It didn't look like anything malicious, but the way they call those flagrant fouls this day and age, anytime you make contact with the upper body, like in the face or anything, a lot of times they do upgrade that to a flagrant 1, so we'll see. Clock is stopped at 5:55. 53-44 our score. Oregon State's down 9. Officials are at the monitor looking at this. Flagrant 5. Showing it right now. Here was the layup attempt, but it's on the follow dunk. There definitely is contact to the face, but it looked like a basketball play that he was going after the ball, and he missed the ball and just ended up getting Diaz-Graham's face. I didn't see who the defender was for Seattle. And the officials are done looking, and now they are meeting amongst themselves and discussing. And they are still discussing. It was a pretty hard hit to the face, it looked like. I will say that. It was a... And it looks like we're going to get the call now. And again, when I'm doing these live streams, I've got the volume down, so for obvious reasons. And it does look like it is just a common foul. It was still a foul on the play, so it's still an opportunity for a 3-point play. That's the correct call. There was no malicious intent there. And he just missed the ball. Missed the free throw, but in Oregon State, it is 54. A 9-point lead for Seattle. Diaz-Graham. Shot clock down to 3. Oregon State's going to have to get a shot off here. The shot is blocked. A long-range 3 at the shot clock buzzer is short. Rebound pulled down by... So Seattle dodged a bullet right there. Under 5.5 to play. Bounce pass inside. And now drawing a double team underneath. Puts up a shot underneath the basket. That was not a good shot by Don. He had a bad angle underneath the basket over a double team. And back comes Oregon State. Top of the key three-pointer, too strong. Rebound, Seattle. So Oregon State's missed on a couple chances to get closer than 9. Redhawks outside. This is JoJo Murphy. Murphy looking for help, gets it to Arrington. Arrington with 10 to shoot for Seattle. Arrington given instructions, now will drive inside, getting inside the paint, turns around. It is still on the outside is a key. Here's an open three, round and out. Then we have an over-the-back foul on Oregon. Clock stopped with 4:08 to play. Okay, a couple of you there's a lag in the stream, so I will try to update the score a little bit more often than I have been. Apologies for that. Yeah, I know my ESPN Plus app does have a delay, so I'm a little bit behind the updating on the score here. So I will try and update the score a little bit more. This is a 1-1. First free throw. That will push the lead back to 10 again. I appreciate that. One more free throw coming up here for Don. He's got 7 points now. Misses the second, so the lead stays 10 for Seattle. 4 minutes to play. Oregon State's not been able to get it any closer than 9. This is Des White, who is still scoreless tonight. And here comes a three-pointer off the front of the rim, no good. The Oregon State's had 3 chances, but his last 3 possessions, but has not been able to get a shot to drop. And now Seattle working on the clock a little bit. Yao over. Yao running the offense is Heimbrod on the outside. JoJo Murphy, who drives inside with the right hand, had it blocked, but he's going to get bailed out with a foul. And that'll now be 10 team fouls. He might have got hit on the arm there. Final media timeout with 3:22 to play. 10-point lead for Seattle, and they will have 2 free throws coming up on the other side of the timeout. The 2 leading scorers on the season for Oregon State, Josiah Lake and Des White, have just a combined 3 points tonight. 1 of 10 shooting combined between the 2. It is double bonus now. That was the 10th team foul, so it'll be 2 free throws the rest of the way for Seattle. Both teams now under 40% from the 9%. Oregon State at 37%. In the 20s at halftime. They have picked that up. Just 4 of 19 from beyond the arc, though, for 20% for Oregon State. It over 12 times tonight. Seattle's put 3 in double figures. Buffalo 16 points off the bench, leading the way. Will Heimbrodt has 14. And JoJo Murphy has now 10 points as he hits the first of 2. And second one also good. So JoJo Murphy now with 11. The Seattle lead is 12 with 3:20 to play. Just asked if Will is on the bench, and he is. No, he's out there. He's actually guarding the shooter here right now. Cross-court pass, and here's a 3 in the corner, up and good from Jorge Diaz-Graham, and that makes it 56-47. Quick timeout, Oregon State, ready to play. So Oregon State back line again. But 9's as close as they. Seattle's biggest lead in this game has been 21. Most a wire-to-wire lead for Seattle. Oregon State did jump out to the first points of the game. Oh, there is still time for Oregon State. It's a 9-point spread. And here's Oregon State pressing, but easily broken by Seattle as Heimbrodt brings it across the midcourt stripe. Now off to JoJo Murphy. Heimbrodt now on the drive. Layup, no! Gets his own rebound, however, and Don lost it. Will put up the reverse layup and get it to go, and one for Horan Don. Well, Oregon State had the stop, but they could not corral the defensive rebound. And Seattle gets a second opportunity and takes advantage. Fourth foul on Jorge Diaz-Graham. And Don completes the three-point play. Beavers bring it up, running out of time as we're down to 2:20. Here's Lake. And the pass inside off the glass, too strong. Oh, and the rebound pulled down by Seattle, and an over-the-back foul on the rebound. It's double bonus on Isaiah Sy. I believe that's who they got the foul on. Heimbrodt at the line for 2 for Seattle. First free throw is short. Second one is also short. So 2 misses at the line, and now back comes Oregon State. Still a 12-point spread, down to 2 minutes to go. Three-pointer in the corner is good by Matija Samar, and it's 59-50. Again, Oregon State gets it to 9. Heimbrodt inside and gets fouled. Great feed inside to Heimbrodt, and he gets the foul, and he will shoot 2. Draws the foul. Free throw is good. Lead back to double digits once again. Heimbro's second is short. 60-50. And didn't have to go. Oregon State didn't have to go. They can't be driven side like this. They're going to have to drive to get something here. They are a trip for Oregon State. You're down 10 points. You can't be milking the ball like that. Inside reverse layup is no good. Apologize, folks. Look like I just lost the feed there momentarily, but it looks like Oregon State with a turnover. And we are under a minute with 45 seconds, and it does not appear that Oregon State is going to foul here. Redhawks dribbling the ball here, 15 on the shot clock. Redhawks are going to get win number 16 on the season. JoJo Murphy on the drive. Murphy off balance in the paint is no good. Rebound pulled down by. Here's Lake. And a reach in, almost another turnover for Lake, who'll put up a three. That is off the backboard. Do it. Seattle, a 10-point victory tonight over Oregon State, 60-50. Seattle improves to 16-11 on the year. They improved to 5-9. Those conference play that drops Oregon State to 14-14 on the season. They fall to 7-8 conference play. They fall into a tie for fifth place with San Francisco. Seattle will move up to 9th. Now in conference play. If Seattle can make it into the top 8 in conference play, they will be able to get a first round bye. 11 and 12 have to play that opening round. Run down the final stats here in this game tonight. Seattle ends up shooting 39%, 20 of 51, 7 of 20 from three-point arc at 35%. They were 13 of 21 at the free throw line for 62%. Oregon State just 19 of 50 for 38% shooting, 6 of 22 from beyond the arc at 27%, just 6 of 11 at the free throw line for 55%. Turnovers, both teams had 12 in the game. Rebound edge went to Seattle 36-30. Redhawks end up putting 4 in double figures tonight, led by John Christopoulos, 16 points off the bench. Will Heimbroad added 15. 11 out of JoJo Murphy off the bench and 10 points for Haran Don. 37 points for Seattle off the bench tonight. 4 points apiece from Yunsok Yao and Malik Arrington. Oregon State they put 2 in double figures, led by Matija Samaras, 14 points, Jorge Diaz-Graham with 12. Oregon State gets 37 points off the bench tonight, 7 out of Yak, 4 points out of Johan Munk and Isaiah Sy. Just 3 points tonight out of Josiah, 1 of 6 shooting, 2 points apiece from Olavi Sutella, Noah Amenhauser, and Keziah Akisi. Des White, the second leading scorer for Oregon State, was shut out tonight. As Seattle gets the 10-point win tonight, 60-50 over Oregon State. Again, Seattle now 16-11 overall, 5-9 in West Coast Conference play. The Beavers dropped to 14-14 overall, 7-8 in West Coast Conference play. They fall into a tie for 5th with San Francisco. 3 games remaining for Oregon State. They're next in action against Pepperdine coming up this coming Saturday. And a midweek game coming up for Seattle against St. Mary's. They have 4 games remaining before tournament play gets underway. Again, I appreciate each and every single one of you that jumped in on the live chat tonight. You guys have been absolutely awesome, and the new subscribers that signed up, I appreciate each and every single one of you. And again, I'm sorry I couldn't answer all of you. They were going too fast, which is great. I'm glad you guys jumped in on the live chat. So if I missed answering you, do apologize. Yeah, well, I'll be back tomorrow with some more college basketball action as the 23-3 Lumberjacks of Stephen F. Austin take on the Islanders of Texas A&M Corpus Christi. That is an 8 o'clock Eastern time tip be on around 7 minutes prior, 7:53 or so. My name's John, actually, Menfisto. Thanks for tuning in. 23-3 Stephen F. Austin. Looking forward to seeing that team. It'll be the first time I have seen them in person in the Southland Conference. I'm afraid they're one of those one-bid leagues, too. Stephen F. Austin may be in the same position that Miami of Ohio is in, may have to win the conference tournament in order to get in the field. They look for win number 24 tomorrow in that game against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. We'll be on the live stream tomorrow night just prior to 8 o'clock Eastern time for that game. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you jumping in tonight. You are awesome. I appreciate all you guys, too. I was actually going to do the Houston-Iowa State game tomorrow night, but I'd like to throw some mid-major. I haven't gotten as many mid-majors in this year as I've wanted to. I wanted to try to mix up the majors and the mid-majors, so that's why I'm throwing that game tomorrow night, Stephen F. Austin. It's a Stephen F. Austin game tomorrow. And hopefully y'all can tune in for that one. Again, 60-50, the final here tonight. Seattle wins it over Oregon State. Thank you all, everybody, and hopefully you tune in tomorrow and join me for that Stephen F. Austin, Texas A&M Corpus Christi game. Appreciate you guys, and thanks for joining. Good night. God bless, everybody.